The Ten Commandments originate from the Bible and serve as fundamental ethical guidelines in Christianity, Judaism, and Islam, revered for millennia as the moral cornerstone of these religions. They've not only shaped religious doctrines, but have also influenced secular legal systems and values in countless cultures throughout history. These ancient decrees, delivered to Moses on Mount Sinai, outline principles for righteous living and societal harmony. However, the modern world often witnesses these commandments being challenged or outright violated, especially by influential public figures, such as rappers, who seem to specialize in defying one of the respective commandments. In this video, we will visualize each of these pairings, exploring how these iconic artists break these sacred rules of morality, and more importantly, we will discover how their behavior has ultimately affected their career, relationships, and overall life, giving us a unique perspective on what it takes to make it in the music industry. The results may shock you. The first commandment, "Thou shalt have no other gods before me," emphasizes the importance of monotheism and loyalty to the one true God. In modern language, this commandment calls for the exclusive worship of God and prohibits the elevation of any other entity, including oneself, to divine status. And while Kanye West has become more in touch with Christianity the last few years, he has also contradicted his own commandments, especially the first. Known for his controversial ideals and boundary-pushing creativity, there have been multiple public instances of his so-called God complex, in the most literal sense there is. Whether you are a fan or not, Kanye has consistently represented himself as a god in clear language throughout interviews, pictures, lyrics, and the concepts of his musical compositions. One of the earliest notable instances of his violation of the first commandment was in 2006 when he posed as Jesus Christ on the cover of Rolling Stone magazine, complete with a crown of thorns. This provocative image sparked controversy, as many saw it as Kanye equating himself with the savior of Christianity. Kanye's 2013 album Yeezus pushed these boundaries even further, and that the title itself is quite literally the combination of Jesus and Ye, a shortened version of his name at the time, suggesting a godlike status, at least metaphorically. Within the album, Kanye released a track titled I Am God, relating himself again literally to the divine. Although according to Kanye, the song was aimed at a major fashion designer attempting to control what events he could and could not attend during Paris Fashion Week. Furthermore, he recruited Rick Rubin to executive produce this album, stating, "It was good for me to go to the God, Rick Rubin, and play him my music, ask him questions, and allow him to take this project to an entirely new level, and he made a lot of great decisions at the end and pulled it to a whole new level." Therefore, not only representing himself to be a god, but also Rick Rubin. Obviously, drawing such comparisons could simply be an exaggerated compliment to the both of them, but still a violation of the commandment. This was before his religious journey began though, for in a recent interview with Big Boy discussing his latest album Vultures, Kanye revealed his complex relationship with Jesus, illustrating a departure from conventional religious interpretations by which people should not be so reliant upon God to solve their issues.
I have my issues with Jesus. There's a lot of stuff I went through that I prayed and I didn't see Jesus show up. So I had to put my experience in this world, my experience with my children, my experience with other people, my experience with my account, my experience with my brand, and my experience with the level of music that I was dealing with in my own hands. Like a lot of times I just feel like in our society in America, you know, people, Christians, we depend on Jesus so much that we won't put the word in ourselves. And the main thing that really that I don't rock with is like, it's just always like, I'm gonna pray for you. And it's just like, you can actually physically do something yourself too, more than just pray. And we're so in this mentality that's all that needs to happen, but we ain't praying our way out of prison. We ain't praying our way out of the abortion clinics. We ain't praying our way to get our land back that was always ours after gentrification, after the Harlem Renaissance and Black Wall Street was burned to the ground. Them prayers ain't working. I disagree. I'm the God of me, and you can't tell me who I am. I can't tell y'all. I could tell y'all. It's y'all job to listen. I'm the God of me. I don't know if I'm in heaven already and shit. I got number one from that. For all you know, I might be on like a fourth dimension version of the lifestyle. You know, I don't know. Like I said, I must have died in this accident. It must be heaven.
Kanye claimed he is God, his own God, or rather, in control of his own destiny, skirting around the edges of controversy and religious ideology. Because are his statements technically wrong, or at the very least, all of his statements wrong? To question age-old ideologies with respect to personal accountability and ambition, and given his story of powerful statements to draw attention to his brand, does he really mean it in the literal sense? Regardless, we cannot deny Kanye's ability to create a conversation around taboo subjects and capitalize from it monetarily. But that goes too for his defiance of the first commandment having a major impact on his career. While some fans admire his audacity and creativity, others despise him for what they see as arrogance. The second commandment, thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness or anything that is in the heaven above or that is in the earth beneath or that is in the water underneath the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them nor serve them. Essentially prohibits adultery, or in layman's terms, forbids the worship of idols, images, or material possessions, such as money, clothes, cars, or celebrities, which is definitely a common issue within today's society due to social media and America's consumerism culture, steering people away from what is actually important in living a fulfilling life of love and happiness. Lil Pump, a rapper known for his extravagant lifestyle and flamboyant persona, often defies this commandment through his glorification of wealth and hedonistic pleasures. Early on in his career, he even tattooed the luxury brand Gucci's logo on his chest as a representation of his socioeconomic status, and shortly after released a track of the same nature titled Gucci Gang. Overall, his music and public image acted as a symbol of the new age of internet, worshiping a lifestyle of excessive materialism, including exotic cars, expensive watches, large sums of cash, and lavish parties, to then boast it to the youngest generation for the sole purpose of social proof. There are countless examples of Lil Pump's idolatry, so I'll spare you the details, as likely no one can debate this fact, at least throughout the first stage of his career. However, even after toning his absurd content down a bit from the peak of his success, he continues to indulge in degenerate activities in the lens of the second commandment, such as the recording and promotion of his OnlyFans business, in which he participates in explicit activities for the world to see merely for profit. Lil Pump contributes to a culture that idolizes the unraveling of all humanity and religion holds dear over spiritual and moral values. And while many fans are drawn to his carefree, indulgent lifestyle, others could argue that his influence of such values can have a detrimental effect on impressionable audiences, for better or worse. The third commandment, thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain, forbids the misuse of God's name, emphasizing how we speak about the divine, including but not limited to swearing, blasphemy, and/or casual references. Lil Uzi Vert, among other artists, since one of the easiest strings of controversy and therefore attention to pull is contradicting religion, has been widely known for his provocative statements and behavior in this realm. One of the most striking examples is his frequent utilization of satanic and occult themes, especially through album concepts like Eternality, originally based on the branding and imagery of an actual cult, Heaven's Gate, although still technically based on Christian values. Regardless, one of the most notable instances of this occurred in 2018 when Lil Uzi Vert announced during a concert that his fans were going to hell with him.
Hold on, let me explain something to them real quick. Before everybody starts screaming and saying, oh, like I told y'all earlier, you motherfuckers entered the rapture. And if ain't nobody flying up to heaven right now, obviously all y'all motherfuckers going to hell. Right with me. So, let's get it. Oh, you already here. I'm so sorry. You can't get out. You're stuck. It's over. You heard the song a million times and you didn't even know. That's
While Uzi's lyrics don't typically encompass satanic or anti-religious sentiment, the purpose of this statement served to corroborate speculations that he did, in fact, sell his soul to the devil in exchange for power and fame due to multiple photos surfacing online, and even posted by his own free will, sporting an upside-down cross chain, a symbol often associated with anti-Christian beliefs. More recently, Lil Uzi Vert faced criticism for direct contradictions to the second commandment by performing an unreleased track with much more overt lyrics. In the literal sense, meaning that for a woman to be with him, they have to, or rather, will end up supporting Satan, the direct opposition to God. Although following the performance and public scrutiny, he explained in more detail to GQ what he actually meant, and reluctantly asked, do you think people really think I'm satanic? Essentially denying the claims of the satanic accusations, but may have landed himself in hot water once again by continuing, but any type of religion is some type of cult. Being Christian is a cult. You all meet at a place to pray and worship, which is technically true, but within the perspective of the commandments, somewhat discredits God's legitimacy. Lastly, he remarks that he was just using symbolism and/or a metaphor to describe his relationship, not actually Satan, but just basically, I make a girl do whatever I say so. I actually kind of just say anything I want to say, even if I offend people. I don't mean to offend people, but you know, if they don't like it, they have the option to turn it off. Although Uzi technically defied the second commandment by disavowing God in all likelihood, he could just be using satanic and occult imagery for branding purposes and free artistic expression. Just as Uzi states in regards to his flamboyant selection in fashion that he low-key will just wear anything. He just wants the ability to explore different interests, styles, and ideas, no matter the limits religion and society have placed on them. The fourth commandment, remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy, emphasizes the importance of setting aside one day each week for rest and spiritual reflection, typically on Sunday. And while many rappers have historically defied this commandment by performing their music full of swearing and taking the Lord's name in vain on Sabbath day, Travis Scott is one of the first that comes to mind due to hosting his own Cactus Jack festival spanning 4 days, from Thursday through Sunday. Other artists typically are paid to perform at already set lineup dates and times, not necessarily holding the political power to choose their own fate, not to mention his high energy performances and relentless work ethic on a continuous and demanding schedule, flying around the world to perform and make appearances without spiritual reflection. Even his recent album's Utopia tour consists of numerous Sunday acts throughout several months. In all honesty though, most artists likely oppose this commandment on a weekly basis, and regular citizens. Their lives in the fast lane of the music industry leave little room for rest, especially devoting an entire day to every single week. The fifth commandment, honor thy father and thy mother, calls for respect and reverence towards one's parents, obviously emphasizing the importance of treating parents with respect, valuing their contributions, and acknowledging their role in one's life, regardless of any personal conflicts or disagreements. Eminem, known for his raw and often controversial lyrics, has frequently defied this commandment through his public and highly critical portrayal of his relationship with his mother, Debbie Mathers, as well as his father. His music is riddled with references to their troubled relationship throughout his childhood, and he has often used his platform to express his deep-seated anger and resentment towards her, albeit in a satirical manner. One of the most notable examples resides within his track titled Cleaning Out My Closet from his 2002 album, The Eminem Show. In the lyrics, he openly addresses his negative feelings about how his mother raised him, accusing her of neglect and substance abuse, in addition to wishing death upon his father for abandoning them both while he was a child, potentially justified. But while Eminem's bars seem rather harsh with such a rough childhood, can anyone really blame him for releasing these dark secrets to the world artistically to relate to those who may be experiencing similar circumstances? Regardless, Eminem's issues with his mother have been a recurring theme throughout his career, and even resulted in a multi-million-dollar lawsuit for defamation of character, although she wasn't awarded much due to he and his attorney arguing that his lyrics were only a reflection of the truth. However, it's worth noting that Eminem's relationship with his mother has evolved over time. In more recent years, he has expressed regret for his cruel words, and both have forgiven each other somewhat from afar. Regardless, his public defiance of the Fifth Amendment through his music exemplifies the challenges of adhering to not only this specific commandment, but all of them at all times, due to the complexities of emotional expression and ancient moral principles. The sixth commandment, thou shalt not kill, obviously prohibits taking another's life, although modern translation of this commandment more so condemns the act of murder and or killing another person unlawfully, since self-defense, among other justifications for killing, have likely been in practice since ancient times. TK, a young rapper whose real name is Tamor McIntyre, gained notoriety for his involvement in a series of violent crimes, including murder at the mere age of 16, by which he was involved in a robbery that resulted in the death of 21-year-old Ethan Walker in 2016. He was subsequently charged with capital murder and other crimes related to the incident as an adult, regardless of his age, still sitting in jail to this day. And while TK's music could have very well risen on the charts itself, the prominence behind his infamous track, The Race, resided within the lyrics detailing these exact charges, whereby he quite literally referenced the exact crimes he was locked up for: robbery, murder, and of course, the race, or in other words, evading his arrest after cutting off his ankle monitor while awaiting trial on house arrest and fleeing from his home state of Texas. On the road, he recorded this track to tell his story to the world, although after only a week-long search, U.S. Marshals in New Jersey apprehended and extradited him back to Texas to face trial for multiple charges. Despite many rappers revealing the violent truths of crime and murder in their neighborhood, TK has been one of the most interesting and unremorseful acts of defiance of the sixth commandment. The seventh commandment, thou shalt not commit adultery, prohibits illicit relations outside of marriage. In modern times, this has become rather common, not simply just for cheating on one's spouse, but also participating in these activities before marriage, even with a single partner. This commandment was set in place in order to emphasize faithfulness and loyalty within marital relationships, as well as to promote family life and the upbringing of children, as bearing kids before one is ready could create turmoil for not only the child, but also society as a whole if it were to become common. As mentioned, many, if not most people, at least in America, defy this commandment in their teenage years, and rappers are no exception. In fact, likely larger perpetrators, given their status and attraction to men and women women desiring a rich and famous partner. But Future specifically has become a symbol for adultery through his music and image due to his admittedly toxic traits while in relationships that he broadcasts through his lyrics. Future formulates the perfect concoction of love and lust without commitment to one woman within his music, showcasing the breadth of emotions and decisions most humans come across through their lifetime. Ultimately, why he is so popular. One significant example involves his relationship with singer and songwriter Sierra, whom he was engaged to in 2013 before their highly publicized breakup. And obviously, given they had a son, they certainly broke the rule of adultery. But during their relationship, there were also rumors of Future's infidelity, defying the other interpretation of the commandment. Shortly after these allegations surfaced, the rapper and his fiancée called off their engagement, resulting in subsequent legal battles over the custody of their children. Now, everybody makes mistakes from time to time. None of us are perfect. However, as mentioned, Future has faced numerous accusations of cheating and toxic traits in his relationships that he has so admitted in his music, including themes of multiple relationships with women at the same time, as well as one-off romantic encounters. Many men would say this is the high life, the life that every man dreams of. Nevertheless, given his multiple baby mothers and the drama that each relationship entails, we must also be aware of the unnecessary stress and hardships this causes. Hence why the 7th commandment exists, for a fulfilling and spiritually relaxing life. The 8th commandment, thou shalt not steal, likely needs no explanation, as it clearly prohibits taking anything that does not belong to you without permission. But on a broader scale, this commandment also emphasizes the importance of honesty, integrity, and respect for others' property and rights. Although Chief Keef has matured and progressed past the need for crime to make ends meet due to the success of his career, he has been selected as the rapper that represents the defiance of the 8th commandment. For during his early teen years, Chief Keef has faced various legal issues, including charges related to theft and robbery, albeit one of the main proponents as to why his music took off in the first place. He was a child of sorts that actually spoke truth through his lyric, while others' lives simply didn't match up with the acts they claimed. One notable incident involving Chief Keef occurred in 2011, when he was arrested for allegedly robbing a convenience store at gunpoint in Chicago at the mere age of 16. He was reportedly accused of stealing cash from the register, among other items, resulting in charges of armed robbery and other offenses. Riddled throughout the several years that followed, Keef would also face numerous charges surrounding similar accusations, such as assault and home invasion, although some of which were dropped. Regardless, Chief Keef's turbulent relationship with the law that only fueled his fame, as every charge added more credibility to his music, and while resonating with urban audiences who appreciated his raw and unfiltered style, like the other rappers on the list, could be argued to have perpetuated degradation of society by promoting the disregard of ethical principles of the commandments. The 9th commandment, thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor, or in other words, prohibits lying or giving false testimony that could harm others. In essence, this commandment emphasizes the importance and ethical responsibility to refrain from spreading misleading information about others to their detriment. Although it is important to note that white lies and other false statements that pose no harm to others seem to be fair game. On the other hand, many times it is difficult to tell when one is affected negatively for another's lies. Playboi Carti, a rapper known for his unique style and influence in the hip-hop scene, has become widely known for his brand of lie. In fact, it is quite synonymous with his career, for better or worse. While he cannot be connected to many specific legal cases of defying the 9th commandment, his fans know all too well of his dishonesty and lack of accountability. For throughout his career, there are countless examples of album release dates that have fallen through without any mention of schedule change, canceled concerts and entire tours, among other vague promises to his fans that never came true, such as the International Antagonist Tour scheduled for late 2023 that was not only officially announced and promoted by he and his label, but also sold tickets to fans, some of which whom have yet to be refunded or remedied. Another instance involves Playboi Carti announcing the release of his highly anticipated album Whole Lotta Red within the next 60 days.
So you know what I mean? I'm trying to drop my shit in the next 60 days.
He said I'm gonna drop that shit in like 6 days.
I ain't gonna lie, I feel like we worked too hard for this moment. So I'm gonna do this shit, no features, just all me. You feel me? I'm really a producer type guy. I'm gonna hang out with rappers.
halfway through 2019, to then follow through with his commitment over a year later. There are too many occurrences of Playboi Carti's lies to count throughout his career, so I'll save you the headache, but it is important to note that with such a track record of lies, his fans have actually become accustomed to it, almost to the point of the boy who cried wolf, by which anything he does say now results in a collective disbelief. If what he says is true, then great, but if not, none of his fans truly get disheartened, since the experience of mystery and surprise has almost become more entertaining than the actual music. In recent years, he has built his entire brand off of this phenomenon, and frankly, it has paid off dearly. And last but certainly not least, the 10th commandment prohibits against desiring or longing for something that belongs to someone else, underpinning the importance of appreciation and gratitude towards one's own life, as well as the respect for others' possessions and achievements, or in other words, warning against envy. Drake, a globally recognized rapper and artist, is often associated with behaviors and controversies that challenge the principles of the 10th commandment. Throughout his career, Drake has achieved immense success in the music industry, but his public persona has also been marked by instances of envy, rivalry, and disputes over recognition and accolades, although he has seemingly already achieved more than anyone could dream of in his lifetime. The most recent and prominent example involves Drake's public feud with his own friends and collaborators, Metro Boomin, Future, Kendrick Lamar, and more, over his status as the top artist in hip-hop. He and Kendrick Lamar traded multiple diss tracks attempting to berate each other's character, resulting in career-altering blemishes, already showcasing signs of jealousy over Kendrick perhaps being perceived as a more respected lyricist. Not to mention the alleged catalyst behind this whole feud with practically the entire industry, by which Drake was rumored to have leaked his version of a record Metro Boomin declined his verse on a track titled Trance within his latest album, proving a lack of respect for another's artistic work. And these issues span deeper than just music, as Drake was also rumored to seek the attention of women involved with his old friend Future, confirming his envy for Future's dealings. These themes have sustained throughout his entire career, his yearn for success, money, accolades, and women being core concepts within his own music. Now, some would argue competition is healthy, especially for such a cutthroat industry. However, I think we can all agree some lines we just shouldn't cross. So as you can see, none of us are saints. Even the best and or highest status individuals, such as rappers, fall victim to defiance of the 10 commandments, some of which have actually rose to fame because of it. But that doesn't necessarily mean they live morally and ethically righteous lives. In fact, considering their overly dramatized lives, these rappers definitely face larger and more stressful issues that most probably wouldn't want to deal with in their everyday lives anyway. But perhaps this is why their art is so impactful, telling stories of their hardships that many of us couldn't even imagine. Obviously, as I said before, we all defy the commandments in one way or another, but hopefully we can learn from those before us.